Welcome back. So I am Miss Bob Ross and we are going to do a beautiful painting today that makes me happy. So today we are going to make a beautiful desert landscape. Notice the beautiful colors. It reminds me of a sunset. So I'm going to tell you how to do it. Stay tuned to this episode of Miss Bob Ross. Okay, let's talk art mediums and materials, my favorite part of the whole episode. So today we are going to need a pencil, an eraser, which is super important, so don't forget if you don't have an eraser on your end, grab an eraser. Something to outline with. Of course, my preference is a Sharpie, but if you don't have a Sharpie, you can always use a washable marker or a outlining pen or flare pen, whatever you have. Okay, so we also need colored markers. I am using Copic markers, which are alcohol ink markers. If you don't have alcohol markers or you don't have any special fine art markers, you of course can just use regular markers, or, and if you don't have a lot of shades of those, you can use colored pencils. And we'll talk about each way to do it. I wish we could paint, but a lot of people don't have paint, so Miss Bob Ross is going to have to do something a little different with these markers. You want to have shades that are yellows for this, oranges, browns, greens, and kind of pinks and reds. Those are important parts, and a gray for our stones. Okay, so we also, of course, need a piece of paper and something to make a straight line with. I'm going to use a good old ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you can use the edge of a book or an edge of a DVD, an edge of a box. I'm trying to think if you have a paint stick, anything like that, but I'm going to use this flexible, cool ruler. Okay, so our first things first is go gather the materials and come back. Got it? We're getting the materials. Okay, so our first things first is we're going to talk about why we're creating this. So if we look at my example, we have a vanishing point. Remember when we talk about vanishing point, that means it gets smaller the farther away you get. Remember how we did the exercise where we looked outside the art room and we noticed the trees got smaller as they got farther away. So that's the same point with our vanishing point. And usually we start a vanishing point in the middle. But today I thought it'd be kind of cool, since we are inspired by Mr. Bob Ross, everyone's favorite artist, as my third graders often tell me, is to have one on the side. So we're going to do a desert and have our vanishing point on the side. And I'm going to show you how to do it. So a vanishing point again is it gets larger and at the side and smaller as we get farther away in the road. Okay, and of course, we're going to make a background and a foreground. Now remember, foreground's in the front, background is in the back. Exactly. Okay, so let's start with our vanishing point, because I got stuck on there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fold our paper, and we want to make sure it is, since we're making a landscape, it's landscape, which is also bathtub or horizontal, but we like to use in the art world the word landscape. So we are going to fold it in half and crease it. That is going to be our way to know that this is our horizontal line, our line across. So our vanishing point is going to be in this corner right here. So we're going to get our straight edge, and we're going to make light lines with our pencil, because we want to be able to erase them later. Because this is just a guide. I don't want to go all the way to this corner because the angle will be too steep. So I'm going to kind of make it up to here and kind of stop about right there. But that can be up to you. So I want to make sure this corner is our point, and we're going to get larger as we go down. So I might make my pencil lines a little darker so you can see them. Okay? You guys make it lighter. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to go up above our horizontal line, which is our crease line. So it's easy since we don't have to make a perfect line in the middle by folding it. It's just a little hack right there. Okay. I should probably be talking like Bob Ross, but I'm not as groovy and chill as he is. So we'll just talk kind of like Miss Bob Ross, which is me. Okay. So I have kind of, now it's a angle, Kind of looks like an alligator mouth, guys. Okay, so now we are ready to start drawing. Our cactus are going to start large here and get smaller as we go down. I want to keep these, this is our line to remember where they are. Now, I don't want to say to put them in a straight line. If you don't want to, you can make them a little behind, but you have to remember if they're behind, they're going to be smaller. So I would just honestly make the line go this way. Okay, so for cactus, this is the easy way. We're just going to make our line going up, and out, up, and mine's going to come off the paper. But that's okay, because we kind of want it to be funky, and again, that's why I always have a paper underneath. Now, do the same thing. I'm going to use this line, go up, maybe make this one a little different, and they can be different because cacti are different. This one's going to come and it's going to get into that. Okay, making it bigger or smaller. I hope everyone just said smaller. Okay, and that one's going to be a little funkier. And this one, I'm going to make this one come this way. And like I said, you make your cactus how you like. This is just, the idea is to make it get smaller. That's all I'm looking for here on our desert road. And I love the desert. That is one of my favorite scenes. I love the colors. I'm going to put, I was inspired kind of by, my brother lives in Utah, and we often go out in the southwest and the west area to go look at different things. And it's just a different color palette than we're used to. Not a lot of greens, but they're still absolutely gorgeous. Again, getting smaller and smaller, and I'm going to make one tiny one right there. Okay? You can make less cactus, you can make more cactus. That is up to you. Okay, so we have to remember these lines are going to be erased. Got it? Now we're going to make our kind of our trail, our road. I'm going to make it as a trail because I kind of like the idea that this is maybe like a national park and people are going to visit because I kind of miss going to parks. So I'm going to make this line, but I'm going to make it more of a curved line. So I'm just going to come down. Again, I know I'm going to disappear into that. I'm going to come right here and try to get smaller and smaller as I go up till I do what? Disappear. Okay, so I have my vanishing points, points that I know when it gets smaller. Now let's think about our background and our foreground. So I'm going to make some mountains in the background. But what I want to think about are the bottom of the mountains are going to be my crease line. So if I need to recrease it to remind myself that those are going to be the bottoms of my mountains. So I'm going to come up from here, and I'm going to go, and you can make mesas, you can make anything you think will look great in the background. Now I have to remember it's going to come all the way down. I don't want to get into my cactus. I'm going to actually make lines right here so I remember when I'm coloring that this line is going to be the bottom, okay? And when we outline, it's not going to look so crazy, I promise. Okay, now I'm going to make my other mountain come out. And maybe one come this way. You can make however you like. Again, this is your work, not my work, not Bob Ross's work, or anybody else's. It's your work. I'm going to make a sunset in my background. I'm focusing on my background now. And I'm going to make some clouds. These are the only things I'm not going to outline later, are my clouds and all, just because they look better if you don't. And I'm making wispy clouds. I like to make mine wispy. And it's hard to see, a little bit harder, but you'll see it when I outline. Next thing is I'm going to make my foreground. So my foreground, I think I'm going to make maybe a rock with maybe a plant coming out. And I'm going to come back and erase that line in a second. It's always good to make light lines, but again, I'm making it a little bit darker. I'm going to have a plant so I can get a little bit of a green, because deserts do have green in them. Make And again, you can make a cactus right here. But again, it's going to look bigger, even though we know this plant is smaller because it is closer to what? The viewer. That's right. The person, if it's closer to you, you know it's going to be bigger. That's the perspective of it. We're using some good art words today, aren't we? Okay. Then I'm going to come back and just erase, erase, and erase. And I'll erase it even more once we do our outlining. I kind of want this to come out like that. Okay. I'm going to make some more rocks and maybe a little bit of green coming out, popping out. Maybe I just want a little bit of a one right here. And you can always make it as it's coming down from here. Perfect. Okay, now I can add, now if you wanted to add animals to this, you can research what kind of animals in the desert. If you wanted like a hawk or something in the, up here, or a fox. Ooh, or a desert hare. I should have made a desert hare. That would have been cool, or a desert rabbit. But again, this is up to you. All I need to make sure is that you know that you get smaller as your vanishing point. I'm going to add some more rocks in my background over here, just to add a little more pop of color. Okay, so we did a great job drawing. Now our next step is outlining. Now, you do not outline what lines you think. That's right. Those angle lines, you are not outlining. You're just going to go and outline the parts that you are going to color in. Okay, I'm going to fast forward while I outline. You guys get to it. Okay, I'm continuing outlining. I'm just taking my time, making sure I am not outlining those two diagonal or angle lines, just to make sure, because I know it gets confusing. So those two lines that we drew at first, we do not want to outline. We want to outline everything else, doing a great job. Also, I just had to take off my Bob Ross wig because Mia and Rocky are terrified of me. Who knows? Those are my dogs. They're growling right now. Okay, so we've erased our lines, we've outlined. If you notice, I did go back and make sure I look, I need to make sure I outline all my stuff. Always go back and double check. Okay, so now it's the coloring part. I'm going to use Copics, like I said, so I can have different values and shades. Now, my third graders, again, you should know a lot about values. And we usually do values with either paint or with colored pencil. So if you were going to do a value, it means you can bear down harder to get a darker value. That means it's going to be a darker shade. And then the less you bear down, the less you push down, the values are going to get lighter. So that's going to be a lighter shade. So you can honestly use colored pencils to create this, or you can use different variants if you have lots of different marker colors, do that, or with crayon even, and if you have watercolors, do that. Remember, if you outline with watercolors, make sure you use a waterproof marker like a Sharpie. Okay, so I'm going to start coloring in. I'm going to start with a darker value, and then I'm going to get lighter as I go. So I want my darkest value maybe to be up here. I'm going to use this kind of like a brownish color. So I'm going to just color in. What I want you to do is focus really hard when you color, is to color your best work. At this time, like I said, yours can look way different than mine. I just want to make sure you're doing your best job coloring. Okay, so get to coloring, figure out. I also want to talk to you real quick about how, if you need to share things with me, which I love, because next week's challenge is going to be all about y'all's artwork that you have done. So I'm pretty sure Bob Ross would never say y'all. Oops. So you guys need to send your work in, and how you can do that is your parents got an email about how to put it in the art class page, not in a folder or on your class page, like Miss Carson's class page, but on the art page. So if you need help doing that, ask your parents to post it so I can show everybody your work in the whole entire world. Because, our videos have a lot of people watching. I'm going to pretend they do. I'm not a Bob Ross, guys. Okay, so I'm going to start coloring. I'm going to fast forward this. You guys get going, and let's get it done. Okay, here's my speed coloring, which I'm enjoying thoroughly. I am showing you the colors each time. I don't know if you can even tell, that I'm showing the different colors. I'm trying to be like a cool YouTuber and hold it to my hand, but you never know. Again, use what you have and figure out, add what you want to. This is the artistic choice. I want to see what you can do. Don't forget to share them with me, pretty please. And Mrs. Bob Ross will be at the end to say goodbye. I am loving all the work you're sending in. I'm so proud of you guys, so keep it up. Oh, the old clock on the wall is telling me to finish this one up. I hope you guys will try it. I think you'll like it. From me to you, happy painting and God bless.